Your Healthy Community is underwritten by the Quantum Foundation. The Quantum Foundation works in Palm Beach County to increase healthcare access, improve science and health education, and enhance the healthcare workforce. Over the past 15 years, the foundation has invested nearly $100 million with community partners who are helping us meet our vision of creating a place where everyone has the opportunity to live healthy lives regardless of their income, education, or background.
Good evening and welcome to Your Healthy Community. I'm Tony May. Each week here on our show, we take a look at what it takes to make your community a healthy one. We're not just talking about doctors at the local corner or making sure you have health insurance. We're talking about a broad definition of health, which includes the health of your schools. We're focusing our microscope this evening on science, technology, engineering, and math courses. How are your kids doing? Perhaps your grandkids struggle when it comes to these classes. Turns out they're not alone. This evening, I welcome three women who represent organizations who are all working on STEM out in the community. Welcome, Deborah Leach-Campavia with Scripps. Nice to see you. Denise Fowles with Girl Scouts of Southeast Florida, and Claudia Hillinger with Max Planck Institute here in Florida. Nice to see you all.
Nice to see you.
So let's just talk a little bit about your organization so we set the scene why STEM is important to everyone. Obviously, Scripps, a big research institute, always involved in science. And this is a real issue when it comes to what you need as far as hiring for Scripps.
Absolutely. When Scripps established its research institute in Florida, there was a great desire for the scientists to become involved in STEM education, science education, bring an expertise into the classroom for students and teachers both. And we're very committed to this as well as scientists. Quite often it was a teacher or a scientist in our own lives that got us excited about these subjects, so it's great to be able to do something in the community.
And Denise, as far as Girl Scouts, I was very interested to hear that there's a nationwide focus on getting girls specifically excited about science.
Right, actually the STEM process that we have going on in the Girl Scout organization is one of our key and core initiatives for girls. We're trying to look at ways in which we can encourage girls to be more involved in the science and technology, engineering, and math field, and the fact that we're knowing that they are less represented throughout the United States and I guess in the world too as well, as far as being girls in the field. So we are actually providing the opportunities for a safe environment for girls to have the support of all women around them and have experts in the field to be able to talk with them and give them activities that actually help them in the development of their critical thinking skills, their team building, and to be able to explore those careers in science and technology.
And Claudia, obviously like Scripps, a major world-renowned research institute, why is something like this important to Max Planck?
I mean, it has always been the philosophy of the Max Planck Society to educate young people, because that's our future scientists, so we have obviously an interest in doing that. And we participate in programs, we design programs with local partners at all levels. That starts with K-12 education and goes up to the postgraduate level. And I think that has been a successful concept, and I think all the research organizations recognize that.
And in Germany, where Max Planck is home, is there a big difference in what you see in even the younger students there as compared to when you came over to Palm Beach County?
No, we see that the numbers of students who really take math education, science education decline, because it's a little bit difficult versus other subjects that they could choose. So I think we face the same problems, the same issues in Germany as you see here.
And Deborah, I know that when Scripps, much like when Max Planck came, really had a community commitment. How did you even come up with what you do? Talk a little bit about what you all do and how it was even created.
The education program through Scripps Florida has been an organic process, and it has been planned and designed really with the help of the Palm Beach County School District and our own scientists, When we first came here, we had our high school summer intern program, which we have in California, and a summer intern program for high school science teachers. We realize it's very important to have that sort of in-depth experience in the summer. We also added on some high school programs, Saturday programs for Title I high schools, to get these kids excited about science and to have an opportunity, give them an opportunity in their lives to meet a scientist. To have somebody right there that's invested in you as an individual, showing you really cool things within the sciences. And I think for most of us, I know for myself, there was no scientist in my life when I was growing up, so that's an important connection. And then you see, you try to develop programs for younger students, programs that will get them excited. They may be doing well at the elementary school level. They seem to be doing relatively well in the sciences, but you want to keep that excitement up. So you have these education days and these intro to science lessons, and again with the scientists. And then you have more in-depth programs for teachers. It's important for organizations, I think, like Scripps and Max Planck to reach as many students as possible, but we're small in size, so we want programs for both students and for teachers. And the teachers are really helping us to reach a broader audience and to get parents excited about this process as well.
That's a good point. And Denise, you know, when I know this was a national initiative, so how did you work here locally in Palm Beach County to do your Girl Scout, I guess, are they getting badges?
Sure.
I remember the badges back in the day.
They actually, our Girl Scout program now is actually based on giving them the Girl Scout leadership experience, because we realize that that's what we do best, is provide that leadership opportunity. So actually we serve 6 counties in the area, so we have the potential of about 15,000 girls to really reach out and touch and impact their lives through science, technology, engineering, and math. What we do with that in a number of different ways is that we have girls that are ages and the same as everyone else, as the kindergarten through senior in high school, that we provide that opportunity for them to have that experiential learning type of experience or opportunity. For instance, we have a solar array that was donated to us by FPNL that's at one of our camp locations. So in doing that, the girls can go out and have hands-on experience about solar power, study it through a computer program that was also donated with that. We have trained facilitators that take them through that. We then can open that also to the school systems to have that opportunity to not only learn about solar power, but also about the environmental issues that happen in that particular camp. So we look at the age progressions, and then we try to keep them excited, as you talk about, in the fact that they are very, very interested in the sciences. They're just not really sure how to go about expanding their experience with that, how to do their developmental skills, because they tend to back off when they get older in the, like say, middle and high school ages. So we're trying to increase that. Some of the programs that we have right now, we were able to get some funding from AT&T through our national organization, where we're actually going to introduce girls in high school who are in areas that they may not have the ability to really think about science as a career. So we're taking some of our programs in forensic science and environmental science and in engineering to some of the Pahokee and Belle Glade areas, so that we can partner those girls that are in high school with other students from Palm Beach State College or with other industries in the area to really think about what they can do and maybe stay in the field of science. Something that's not really been available to them as much as we'd like to see that happen. So that's part of what our initiative is doing.
And is it, I know it's just starting, but you've done some of the outreach. What is the reaction of these girls? Because I have to be honest, I know that I'm impressed because you ladies, especially you, Tony, love science. I didn't love science. And so I think, how do you, when they've never, as you said, been maybe introduced to it, and how do you make it user-friendly?
It's something that's really fun for the girls. We look at all types of different activities that are actually produced by scientists, that are actually produced by some of our organizations that we deal with directly, whether it be with Scripps, where we've had girls work with them before too. It's something that's fun, and because we do an all-girl type of environment, they're less likely to be reclusive. They go ahead and branch out. If they make a mistake, it's okay. They have a support group around them that will allow them to try things. And so with that, we make it fun. It's all girls. They love to chat. They love to, gab constantly while they're doing it, but then they're also learning through that. It's very important for us too to have women role models. So we try to look for scientists and engineers. We work directly with the women in engineering in the area to help provide them with activities, and knowing that it's fun. These girls are like sponges. They want to learn more. They want to try things, and we give them that environment to do it.
And Claudia, I love Perfect Intro because you are a scientist, and you, when I first met you, I thought, wow, that's not my image of a scientist, and I think that's a really good representation of what we're trying to teach both, young men and specifically women. Other scientists at Max Planck, when you go to them and say, hey, we have Science Saturday or we're doing this, are they open to that? Are they really excited about sharing what they know with young, perhaps budding scientists?
Most of them definitely are. I mean, they love to work with the young students, with the children, and just talking about the summer internship, we had our first round last year, and that's a program we're very fortunate, since we are new in the community, that Scripps shared some of their expertise with us, and we kind of piggybacked on their program. But working with those young students, the feedback that I got from the scientists, they think it's an enrichment for them, have that kind of interaction, and obviously the young students were intrigued by getting a hands-on experience in the labs and working with the scientists on real projects. So these are not designed experiments, but they were assigned a real project, and the data they produced went into the publications of their particular research groups. And I think that's a very good interaction.
Getting to know the community, I know you've been here a while now. Do you see that the more you're out there doing these kind of projects, the more people understand who Max Planck is, why you're here? Because it is something that most of us may not understand, the research projects and the technology involved and the science involved, and it's kind of this big building that we're not sure what's going on, So does it demystify it a bit?
It certainly helps to demystify. I mean, we do a lot of outreach programs in the meantime. The focus certainly is on the research and the science, and we're now up and running in temporary facilities with 6 research groups in place. You mentioned the building. We move into our new building in June this year. We will add more research groups after the move, so I think there will be a big expansion and a lot more opportunities to participate in the future. But educational outreach and other outreach programs certainly help to educate the community and keep them appraised what's going on. And I just want to mention the lecture series, the public lecture series that we're hosting at the Royal Poinciana Chapel, talking about how the brain stores information. That's the upcoming lecture on March 7. And the next lecture will be on the sun. It has nothing to do with the research focus that we cover here in Florida, which is brain research, but it shows the broad spectrum of research topics that are covered in the Max Planck Society in general. And I think that's found a big interest in the community, and I'm sure Deborah will say the same thing. Scripps does similar programs.
And I like that because we're talking about kids specifically in this segment, but as adults, again, we're just as, I think, enamored and sometimes maybe hesitant to ask about what is it you do at Scripps. And I think taking you back to the very beginning of Scripps when you did that huge public education day,
Absolutely.
remember, people were blown away.
It was so much fun. I was telling colleagues at that time my biggest fear was either no one will show up or everyone will show up, and I think we had between 5,000 and 8,000 people attend. And it was this opportunity, as you said, to find out what is Scripps research? What do you do? What is basic biomedical research? And you have the scientists right there. You're doing these eye-catching activities, and the challenge is really on the scientists as well to make what we're doing accessible to the public, not just students, but as I said before, their parents and their teachers, and hopefully become engaged with what's happening in their own backyard. And it was just a phenomenal success. And to carry on some of that, we're very excited about what we do. There's a reason Claudia and I became scientists, because of our passion for it. I think if you're given an opportunity to share this passion with, and particularly as female scientists for Girl Scouts, to share that passion, that I hope gets kids excited about this as a career. And then we give them the specifics about this is what we're doing. We are biologists, we are chemists, we are engineers, and working toward understanding diseases, central nervous system diseases, or cancer, or Alzheimer's, and the tremendous challenge. So it's very exciting, and I think to make it accessible, if you can walk away and say, I think I know what they're doing over there, then
yes, that is a big accomplishment. Now, speaking of, I mean, I've had the luck to work with the Max Planck and Scripps for a while now, but when you talk about Girl Scouts, and I was talking about this segment with somebody else, and they said, oh yeah, we do something with Scripps. You really are out there trying to bridge, you know, and make collaboration. In your opinion, Denise, because sometimes you think about Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts as almost, do people even still do that with technology today and iPads and video games? Is that even something kids are interested in? Does it really take partnerships like this where you're pulling from the community and saying, hey, you want to know what goes on, and you know, this is Scripps and this is what they do? Does it take that kind of partnership?
Absolutely. I mean, we are very fortunate in this area to have Scripps, Max Planck, and all the different industries that are coming into the area through the sciences, which gives it even more of an opportunity for us to really start looking at how can we help these girls interact with these different industries in order to be able to ensure that we're going to have that workforce replacement so that they will stay in Florida. What we find so often is that girls who have been interested in the sciences tend to leave the area that they grew up in or where their studies are. And we want to be able to look to that, to work with our partners in industry all along the areas of the 6 counties that we serve and beyond that, to make sure that they understand that these girls are interested in staying here, that they want to be able to work with them, and why not use the experts in the field, which we're very fortunate to be able to do that, and we still want to continue our relationships.
I want to ask each of you, but I'll start with Claudia. Are there times that you all are around a round table and you're talking about the real need and the real lack of, whether it's young men or young women, scientists coming out of universities, not just in Palm Beach County, all over the United States? I was reading some of the statistics, and it's shocking how far behind we are. And yet you're a major research institute, and I know part of your real desire is to hire local, or at least from the area. Are there like brainstorming sessions where you're thinking of, okay, how do we do this? Let's do community outreach. Let's get more involved with the universities.
I mean, there are certain internal rounds where we discuss where we go.
Or in the field in general.
And there are a couple of groups here in the community to do exactly that thing, where you bring various partners on board, and not just the research organizations, but where you partner up with the industries and big companies in the area who have an interest in education and educational outreach. So that happens on a variety of levels. If I look at the field, neurosciences, that's not so much a concerted effort. There are certainly some institutions, organizations out there who are big proponents of the field, like just Brain Awareness Week is one of the big topics that's coming up in March, where you try to raise awareness for the research, for the implication that it might have on the community and the health system in general. So it's a variety of different levels where we talk about those topics.
Is there concern that there'll be a shortage, or you know what I'm saying, or is there always to keep up with the needs of your industry? Do you think there's a concern?
There is a genuine concern on the part of our faculty and our research institute that there be, we're .edu, we have a PhD program, that there be, and we're one of the top PhD programs in the United States, that there be the students in the pipeline that will come in for their PhD training, that they will then join the ranks of the faculty researchers at not just Scripps, but Max Planck, where you need this investment in the sciences. I know there's concern economically because there's the feeling that science and technology has been driving our economy, which is very true. But to be able to do our research, we need this pipeline. So I think that's why you're seeing so many of the major research institutions investing their time in K-12, pre-K-12 outreach, because we do recognize that, as scientists, we need to get those younger ones excited. We need to help the middle school kids invest in a rigorous subject and want to study these. And then in high school, both for the precocious and those kids who may be struggling, to keep them connected to the process of studying sciences, just to help us be a more scientifically literate society. But then the possibility of science as a career. And then we also, as Max Planck does, have undergraduate opportunities as well. So this pipeline is set up, and that's what we're trying to do, the model we're setting up at Scripps, because we realize that we're all very concerned about having a strong pool of young scientists coming in.
And I know that with the Quantum Foundation, we've certainly found out so much about what it takes to make kids succeed in science classes. And one of the things that keeps coming back to, and you talked about at the beginning, is teachers, to be quite honest. Nothing against science teachers, but about 1 in 8, you and I discuss it, actually has had a science background, I think, in Palm Beach County. So you see why they're kind of struggling. Is that, I know you all are both working on the Teacher Institute, is that something also that you see as a real necessity to the solution to this problem?
I mean, the teachers are certainly the multipliers of the message, and if they get across the message in a passionate way that gets the students interested and excited about the topic, that's the best thing that you can achieve. And I think we need to get the teachers involved and get them in the boat.
And Denise, I know Girl Scouts does so much research and so much just one-on-one. When they launched the STEM program, what had they found out from the girls themselves? Had they talked to them and said, well, here's why girls don't go into science, or here's what's kind of intimidating about STEM?
They did, and that's where I was discussing before, the girls are intimidated. We found that 45% of the girls in the classroom now, by the time that they're reaching the early ages of high school age, they're afraid to raise their hand, afraid of being bullied, afraid of being considered as the smart girl, so that they're ostracized. And so with that, we are trying to help in a lot of different ways in the development of their own self-esteem, but then also introducing things that are free and fun through the community that can help them then understand that it is something that they can pursue, not just something that will make them uncool when they're in school. I have 2 daughters that actually went ahead and in the science world, and they attribute that a lot to Girl Scouting and how it built their self-esteem in order to be able to stand up against the odds and be one of the girls that one of the only girls in the field. So it's really an important piece that we're finding, and I kind of contribute that to the fact that our research institute have worked with Scripps as well, the Girl Scout Research Institute, in studying what is it that's making it more difficult for girls and how can we break down those barriers. And I feel that we are really excited about that and the fact that we're going to take that on as one of our core programs.
Well, and I think that it really shows the Girl Scouts' vision, because to be relevant in this day and age, you have got to be somewhat technologically savvy. You've got to be confident in those fields, because we all know those are, as you said, where the jobs are and where the future is. And Claudia, I guess, like, personally growing up, were you, maybe in Germany it's different, where obviously you love science and you were smart. Was that ever a concern? Did you ever feel like, oh, I don't want to be the smart girl in the class?
Actually, I never thought about that.
Maybe you can share your experiences with some of these girls.
No, that was not a concern.
You always just loved science.
Yeah, I mean, I had a very broad interest. It was the sciences, but also Latin, of all choices that you can do. So, and I finally picked the sciences and biology as my favorite subject.
And Deborah, as somebody saying, I mean, did you ever feel kind of intimidated that you loved a subject that kind of was considered nerdy, quite honestly?
I remember in high school that I was teased by boys.
Really?
By being very good in math. And it's a tricky age to be teased. And I think what is helpful, what I hope is helpful, is this confidence that hopefully we can bring into the interaction with the Girl Scouts, role models, and a confidence to go after what you really are good at and what you like doing. And which is the same, actually, it applies to the teachers as well, with our teacher workshops and our teacher interns, to give them confidence as well. So this is where interacting with a scientist. Having a scientist you know, I just knew I wanted to do this. I wanted to study biology, but I can remember my parents being absolutely horrified because we just didn't have anybody in the sciences in the family, and what are we going to do with this child? And so you do have to keep yourself going and have that passion and follow.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I have a son that's considered a nerd because he loves science and math. So I don't think it's, you know, necessarily gender-based, but I always tease and say, well, yeah, they called Bill Gates a nerd too. So see how that worked out. Well, thank you all. These are great programs, and I am going to put some information about each of your organizations on the screen before we tune out so that people can go on and see when Science Saturdays are coming up, you know, Girl Scout if they want to get involved. Thank you all so much. Really, this has been great.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank
you
you
so much.
As promised, I'm going to put up each organization's webpage information so you can log on. A lot of their events are on there, or perhaps you have a girl that would like to get involved in scouting. They're celebrating their 100th year, I believe. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you again next time right here on Your Healthy Community.
Your Healthy Community is underwritten by the Quantum Foundation. The Quantum Foundation works in Palm Beach County to increase healthcare access, improve science and health education, and enhance the healthcare workforce. Over the past 15 years, the foundation has invested nearly $100 million with community partners who are helping us meet our vision of creating a place where everyone has the opportunity to live healthy lives regardless of their income, education, or background.